with what we do, and people call and they hear a man's voice, the pause, because they're trying to gather themselves. And the next thing they say is that I was expecting to hear a lady's voice. And I said, yeah, many young people are defining success very wrongly. And I looked at all the definitions of success and I said, beautiful and fine. I mean, you are free. But what does success mean to me? Success means achieving purpose to me. It has nothing to do with money or wealth.
Welcome to Crush Your Goals podcast. My name is Onyekachi Charles Onyeukwu, founder and CEO of Donosco Media. And with me today is a man who is spearheading conversation about women across Africa and the world. I'll let him introduce himself.
Thank you very much, Charles, for the work you do. I sincerely appreciate this opportunity. My name is Kalana Belema Mishakart. I'm the Executive Director of Engage, Empower, Educate Initiative, a non-profit registered here in Nigeria, and also the founder of Africa Women Summit, a Pan-African movement to mobilize women, to empower them, to give them an opportunity to grow and network and begin to understand the various cultures against Africa, and finally to also help push for policies for women across the continent. Wow. Thank you very much.
That's interesting. So tell me, how was it when you started? Did you face any kind of skepticism based on being a man? Organizing conferences for women.
Till now, I still face skepticism. In fact, with what we do, and people call and they hear a man's voice, the pause, because they're trying to gather themselves. And the next thing they say is that I was expecting to hear a lady's voice. And I said, yeah. Most times women have said that they want men to be at the table when certain conversations are happening to ensure that their points are put into perspective. But here, you don't have just a man on the table. You have a man creating the table for women to have those conversations. So it's also challenging because when you want to get funding for grants, you see most times they say they want women-led non-profits. What it means is that the man-led non-profit, even if you're empowering women, cannot fit into that portfolio. So it's sad, but as a he for she and the Pan-Africanist to the core, it doesn't deter me. You keep doing the job you do, you keep doing the work. We've been doing this for 8 years running. We don't see us slowing down or stopping anytime soon, irrespective of the challenges.
Tell me, what do you intend to achieve from hosting the Africa Women Summit?
Basically, Africa Women Summit is a platform for women to network and learn. I tell people, if you get African women, now I mean African women, not one single country, African women into a room, you begin to understand that just leaving them in a room, they learn from themselves, they connect, they grow, and they network. That is enough for me if I can achieve that. Because you see, most times the Nigerian woman, in her lifetime, will never miss the Cameroonian woman. Most times, the Cameroonian woman in her lifetime will never meet the South Sudanese woman. Most times, the South Sudanese woman in her lifetime will never meet the Egyptian woman. But these women exist, doing very well in the various countries. They can learn from each other when they connect. So the platform to bring them together to connect and learn from each other is Africa Women Summit. And it's going to be the go-to platform in the world for Africa Women's events.
You've been doing this for the past 7 years. So what are the biggest stories that have come out of this event?
Well, we have painful stories and we have very good stories. So I'll start with the painful story. A lady from Ethiopia attended our event. I think she attended the 10th edition in Rwanda, if I'm right. Yes. And based on the conversations, she was inspired to join politics. Guess what? She contested for politics in Ethiopia and she won.
Wow, that is interesting.
But here's the bad news. She was assassinated. Are you getting me? But guess what? Her younger sister, that also after she came, she attended first in Dubai, where the vice president of Liberia was our keynote speaker. A lot of things happened from that meeting. She now came to Rwanda with her sister to say, this is a thing I've seen in Dubai. Follow me and come and see it. Now that her younger sister that works in Ethiopia is also going to contest for elections to continue her legacy. She's built a non-profit organization to continue her legacy. Good news. In Dubai, another lady from Kenya came and saw what the vice president of Liberia, a woman, could achieve that office. I was inspired as I speak to you. She's a senator in Kenya, a young senator in Kenya. So we have stories like this. In Rwanda, a lady came and was our speaker from Namibia. Young lady. In fact, she flew in on a Thursday, spoke on a Friday, and flew back on that Friday to South Africa. And I'm like, why are you rushing back to South Africa? She said she's in school and she has exams. As I speak to you, that young lady today is the youngest minister of health in Namibia. You can Google her. So our platform gives women the opportunity to network, learn, grow, and create networks. And see that their sisters from another African country are doing well. And hear how they speak. hear how they think, hear what their environment looks like. The truth is that in all our events, we have at least women from at least 24, 21 countries attend.
That's great.
These are people that would have not seen themselves, would have never connected. Thank God for social media, but there's this thing about human connection. Are you getting me? I know people that attended our event in 2018 that are friends till today, that are doing businesses together, that are growing together. That's the aim. But beyond that, now we're beginning to push for policies. Are you getting me? That would affect women in Africa.
South Africa. I noticed you also go out of Africa. You've done in Dubai, you've done in UK. What's the idea of going out of Africa?
Okay. African women are present in the diaspora. And we don't want to leave them out of this conversation because for them, the conversation is a little bit different. We want how they can bring back their knowledge, bring back the resources they have to empower women in Africa that they left behind in the grassroots. That's why we're going to the diaspora. So we have a president in the US, AWS president in the US, currently registering AWS. We have AWS president in the UK, fully registered, run by a Sierra Leone. We have AWS in Australia, run by a Zimbabwean. We are setting up our Canadian branch. For the diaspora, we are saying, how do we leverage African women that are doing well in the diaspora, that are earning dollars, that is a very good currency. And just a small exchange of $100, $200 is a lot of money back home. Or access to equipment. Like we have a partnership now with an Australian hospital where they are giving us medical supplies for free. All we need to do is to ship them back to Africa. And our Australian president is handling that process for us. Those are what we are looking for in the diaspora. And these women, also African women, we are not going to be leaving them behind the conversations. We're going to help them network within themselves, grow, because most of them don't have the time. These people are very busy working in the diaspora, but we want to give them that platform, network, grow, learn, then empower.
Yeah, you also do some things for the girl child.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
For the girl child, we have different projects. We have the back to school project.
So, I mean, the one you do with African women.
That's what I'm saying. Every country we go to, we have the back to school project. In Rwanda, we sent intelligent girls back to school that could not go back to school. That cost us over $4,000 to do. So every country we go, we send girls back to school. In Nigeria, we sent over 100 girls back to school. Also, we started something in Kenya, which was our 5th edition, which is a mentorship program where we are mentoring 200 girls in 20 faculties. This is the 2nd year. I mean, these girls, if you see the testimonials coming out from that mentorship program, it's amazing. These girls are grouped together in the fields where they are, with mentors in that field from their country. They understand the system, understand the process, and have been through what they are about going through. These people have meetings with them structurally once a month or whenever the mentor is opportune to. And these girls have the opportunity to ask questions. Guess what? We've also got these girls getting placements, job placements, because of this mentorship scheme. It's something we intend to replicate across the continent. And Kenya has given us a very good model to build on.
That's interesting. Now, you've done a lot in 7 years, right? So your 7th edition is happening in Zanzibar.
Yes.
So what should we expect from it?
Africa Women's on 7th edition. It's not been easy. Going from Africa, started in Nigeria. From Nigeria, I went to Dubai, the 2nd edition. 3rd edition, we were in Rwanda. 4th edition, we were in Cape Town, South Africa. 5th edition, we were in Nairobi, Kenya. That is where we began pushing for policies, where we had the Nairobi Declaration. 6th edition, we went to Egypt, Cairo, Egypt, and 7th edition, we are going to Zanzibar. So in Zanzibar, we are going to be building on what we started in Kenya, which is access to healthcare for women in rural communities. Currently, in Africa, it's quite poor. Women in rural communities, only 35% can access quality healthcare. And we're saying, how can we move that to 70% over the next 10 years? So in Zanzibar, we are beginning a legislative action for that. We are bringing legislators from across Africa to say, how can you pass laws? Because we need a structure, a framework that would handle the process we want to do. Because if you just talk and talk and talk, and there's no policy framework, you're wasting your time. So we are bringing parliamentarians from across Africa, from Kenya, from Nigeria, and other African countries, saying, let's have a conversation. What laws do you think we should pass that would enable access to healthcare for women in rural communities? And once we agree on the laws, we'll create that framework, then we'll ensure that our 32 country presidents will take it to the parliaments in their country and sponsor a private bill to ensure it passes into law. We're also looking at silent killers of women. We're also going to be looking at leadership, women in leadership, and we're also going to be looking at cancer. Cancer is one thing I believe by the grace of God will have a cure in the future. But before then, We know that early detection saves lives. What is the problem? Why are women not having cancer detected early? Why are people still dying of cancer? So we're going to be having a panel session, a massive panel session on cancer. We have all our speakers already confirmed for that session, and we'll have some keynotes from notable women from across the world. The Minister of Women Affairs Gender in Tanzania will be our keynote speaker, and she will open the event for us in Zanzibar this May.
Wow, that's interesting. Now let's bring it back home. You've done a lot of things on social media, for social good, from businesses, and then the one that is most challenging, being a man in a woman's world and getting them up to do things that challenges African women to be great, right? So doing this takes a lot of courage, doing this takes a lot of ups and downs. And then you're looking at the African population, the younger people. What advice do you have for them? What have you learned over the years that have helped you to achieve this level of success? What can they do starting today that will help them to achieve success in their life, business, and whatever they do?
I tell people, I had a mentorship for young people, and the first question I ask them is that what does success mean to them? I think many young people are defining success very wrongly. And I looked at all the definitions of success and I said, beautiful and fine. I mean, you are free. But what does success mean to me? Success means achieving purpose to me. It has nothing to do with money or wealth. Because when you begin to define success, it guides your action. Because you get to a point where money does not come. But because you are driven by something that is beyond money, that is purpose driven, you can still go on. Because with that comes consistency, and consistency is what will drive success. If you can't build consistency and you can't build passion for something you're doing, then you can't even go anywhere. Most people you see that are successful, you hear about them, this guy was an overnight success. Go and check 20 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later. That's when they became an overnight success. So overnight success takes at least 10 years to happen. That means you must consistently show up. Even on the days you don't feel like showing up. And I'm telling you, those days are there. There are days you just don't feel like doing anything. But you just have to show up. Because just maybe that day that you don't show up is the day that your testimony is about to happen. Your breakthrough is about to come. But you did not show up. So young people, find purpose. Build your passion around it. And be consistent in it. Success will be the reward.
Thank you so much, Mr. Belema.
Thank you.
And before you go, please tell us, how can men attend the conference?
Yes, men can attend the conference. They call them he for she's, they call them men that support women. And some men are coming with their women just to relax because Zanzibar is a vacation city. So you can come, feel free to participate.
Okay, so how do people get
online? Just go Africa Women Summit, anywhere, any platform, or our website, africawomensummit.org. Our social media handles, especially on Instagram, Africa Women Summit. You'll see us there and have a conversation with us. If you have questions and recommendations, and if you want to be a partner with what we are doing, just reach us on social media or via our website. We'll take it up.
All right, thank you so much. That's it for today's Culture Goods podcast, and feel free to engage with us and have a nice day. Thank you.